A bus door slammed shut, echoing through the Montgomery air on December 1, 1955, an ordinary day turned extraordinary. Inside, tension simmered, thick and heavy, like the humidity that enveloped the city. The driver, a white man with a weary face, shouted from the front, "Get up. You know the rules." Rosa Parks, seated in the colored section, felt the weight of his words pierce her resolve. Around her, the murmurs of confusion morphed into a collective gasp as eyes locked onto her. She remained seated, her heart pounding, not just for herself, but for the countless others who had been humiliated, oppressed, and silenced. The air crackled. This was not just a bus ride, it was a standoff charged with history. "Rosa, please," a voice quivered. From behind, someone urging her to comply. But her gaze remained fixed ahead, not out of defiance, but a deep-rooted conviction she could no longer suppress. A hand gripped her shoulder, the driver's voice now a roar, "If you don't get up, I'll have to call the police." As the sirens approached, the reality crashed in. This decision, this refusal, would ricochet through the nation, igniting a movement and unraveling lives in its wake. In that heartbeat, Rosa Parks became both hero and criminal, and the world stood still, holding its breath. How did it come to this? The pressure had been mounting for years, a quiet storm of injustice building under the surface of everyday life. Rosa had seen it all, the stares, the jeers, the segregation that defined her existence. The buses were a microcosm of society, a daily reminder of the walls that divided them. As she sat there, the weight of history pressed down on her. This was not just her fight, it belonged to the mother who had raised her, the friends who had been beaten for standing up, the children who would inherit this cruel world. But there were enemies lurking in the shadows, systemic racism that dictated every aspect of their lives, the indifferent bystanders who turned their heads, and even well-meaning allies who were too afraid to act. The bitterness of betrayal ran deep. Those who should have supported them often turned a blind eye, fearing repercussions or the loss of their own comfort. The stakes were high, and Rosa knew that inaction would forever seal their fate. It was a quiet moment, the hum of the bus temporarily drowned out by the chaos of her own thoughts. When the driver demanded her compliance, something inside Rosa snapped. In that split second, a decision was made. She straightened her back, firmly grasped the fabric of her skirt, and said, "No." The word hung heavy in the air, a declaration that resonated far beyond the confines of that bus. It wasn't just a refusal, it was a challenge to the status quo, a crack in the foundation of oppression. The bus jerked to a stop, and the driver's face twisted in disbelief. "You're gonna regret this," he warned, but Rosa's heart raced with resolve. This was about more than just her seat, it was about the stand against injustice that had been long overdue. She could feel the eyes of her fellow passengers on her, some filled with fear, others with silent admiration. As the police arrived, cold metal clanged against metal. Handcuffs clicked around her wrists. They believed they could silence her, that they could snuff out this spark before it ignited a revolution. But Rosa was not alone. The community she had nurtured, the friendships forged in the fires of oppression, were waiting in the wings. They had a plan, one that would set the city ablaze with the spirit of resistance. The Montgomery Improvement Association (MIA) sprang into action, led by a young preacher named Martin Luther King Jr. The strategy was simple yet bold, a boycott of them buses. They believed that if enough people stayed off, the city would buckle under the weight of economic pressure. It was a gamble, one that required immense coordination and courage. Would it work? The odds seemed stacked against them, but desperation breeds creativity. Rosa's act of defiance was the match. Now they needed to fuel the fire. The morning of December 5th arrived, a date that would etch itself into the annals of history. Hundreds gathered at the Holt Street Baptist Church, their faces lit by the flickering candlelight, reflecting their collective determination. Rosa sat among them, feeling the weight of their expectations. "Every one of you is here because you believe in justice." King's voice thundered, igniting a fervor within the crowd. The air buzzed with energy. "We will not ride the buses until we are treated as equals. This is our time to stand together." As the church erupted into applause, Rosa's heart raced. They had no idea what lay ahead, the challenges, the threats, the sacrifices. But in that moment, they were united by a cause larger than themselves. Days turned into weeks, the boycott gaining momentum. Still, the city fought back. Fear tactics emerged, some families received threats, while others lost their jobs. Yet, the people marched on, their spirits unbroken. As the boycott extended, the city began to notice the financial impact. Empty buses rolled silently through the streets, a haunting reminder of the determination within them. Community. But not all were steadfast. Amid the camaraderie, there were whispers of doubt, dissent among the ranks. Some believed the strategy needed a more aggressive approach. Others were afraid of the potential backlash, of retribution from those in power. As tensions escalated, so did the fear. On a fateful night, a bomb exploded outside King's home, a targeted message to silence the movement. The fracture was palpable, not everyone could withstand the pressure. Rosa felt the weight of their losses. Friends turned against friends, driven by fear or desperation. Those who had once marched side by side were now hesitant, unsure if they could endure the fight. The cost had already begun to reveal itself, and the price of courage felt unbearably high. Through the chaos, Rosa Parks emerged not just as a figurehead but as a symbol of relentless hope. Her decision to stay seated had sparked the flames of change, but it also illuminated the complexities of human nature. In a world that demanded compliance, she chose defiance. In a climate of fear, she inspired courage. But this story was not just about one woman or one moment. It was a reflection of the struggle within all of us, the battle between comfort and conviction, the fear of loss against the will to fight for what is right. As the movement gained momentum, it became clear, change does not come easily, and it is often forged in the crucible of sacrifice. In the quiet moments, away from the crowds and the cheers, Rosa Parks understood this truth profoundly. Her story, layered with tension and resilience, teaches us that sometimes the greatest victories arise from the smallest acts of defiance, and that the courage to sit down and refuse to move forward can indeed change the course of history. In the end, though the struggle was far from over, one thing was undeniable: the footsteps of those who dared to stand up for justice would echo through the ages, paving the way for future generations to carry the torch of change. Rosa Parks had sparked a flame, and it was only just beginning.